What's up everybody, welcome to John's Daily Hustle. So today we're going to go cut an overgrown property and we're going to get to use the Toro here as well as my X-Mark. We're going to use those mowers to go cut this pretty thick and overgrown property. I mean, it was up to my knees in some spots. We're really going to be putting this Toro through its paces on this video anyways. We did end up breaking something on it. You guys can put in the comments below what you think broke before we get to it. But let's jump into this, I'll show you guys, and let's see what we can do. Alright, so we got this overgrown property here. Doesn't look that bad on camera, but it's raining, it's wet. I'm soaked and covered. The backyard is actually up to my knees. Alright, so of course starting right out on this job, I'm going around the whole property trimming everything and of course trying to get some of the thicker knocked down parts closer to me or at least away from objects like the fence and everything else. And you guys will see here in just a few minutes I will go into the backyard and start to trim some of that, and it's pretty darn thick back there. But right here you'll actually see that I started mowing anyways, and you can see how wet it is, all that moisture just coming out the discharge chute. And you can see that I did put a towel on the back seat because like I said, it was pouring the rain while I was here. In one of the clips you'll actually see a good bit of the rain coming down, and this was one of those storms that we weren't supposed to get. It was supposed to be a beautiful day, but you know, here in Missouri where it just randomly snows in the middle of the springtime and rains and everything else like that, you just never know what the weather's going to be. So anyways, if you guys can look real careful at some of these spots, you'll actually see where my wheels are spinning because of how slick it is. It's wet and muddy, and I normally don't mow in the rain, but I kind of had no choice for this one. You'll see here in just a few minutes we're going to jump to the backyard, and the backyard is where it's very thick and very overgrown, and the backyard is actually where I'm going to be doing the Timemaster a lot. And if you guys just noticed right there, if you watched right after the video cut to the next little edit, the mower actually went a little sideways where it looked like maybe I wasn't quite steady with the controls. And that's actually because there's a whole pile of mud right there and I was spinning because of how wet it is here. Here you can see how wet the yard is, how clumpy it is, and how wet the mower is, and how soaked I am. I mean, I am absolutely covered in grass and just completely soaked. And by the way, those Cujo shoes, my feet are absolutely soaked in here. So here you can see the backyard, and if you look at the grass, I mean, it's already well above my shin. And then if you look where I'm about to step, it's up to my knees. So of course, here's just a quick little trimming, and then you're going to see me break out the Toro Timemaster here. Alright, so jumping right off the bat, you guys know I always start by going around the outside, and as a disclaimer, I actually had my chute blocker closed at the start of it, like you can see right here. I just wanted to see how well it would work and how long would it take for it to stall out or shut down. But as you guys can see, it didn't last very long, and I put the chute blocker with a discharge chute on it. Yeah, and as you can see right there, I was saying WTF, you know, I was pretty pissed that it happened, but, you know, there was nothing I could do about it. Just kind of, maybe I put it in there wrong or something like that, or maybe it was just all the grass pushing against it. But anyways, I messed that up. You guys will see that here in the later on in the end of the video, but luckily I just didn't zip tie it, but I bungeed the little discharge chute or the chute blocker. I just zip tied it or bungeed it up anyways. I keep saying zip tied. I bungee corded it up and held it wide open. It seemed to work better anyways, and it worked just fine. So enjoy the rest of this little montage, and you'll see a time lapse of this backyard here in a minute, as well as some very thick stuff and some slow motion shots like this right here. Check that out. That's some pretty thick stuff. So enjoy this next few rest of the minutes of the video anyways, and we'll jump back into talking here in a minute. Here the grass was so thick, even with the discharge chute open, I ended up stalling it. And I actually did that several times. I believe it happened just because of how wet and how thick the grass is here. So here's the time-lapse part I was telling you about in the backyard. It's funny because as you see right there, somewhere I lost my jacket. I ended up taking it off. I got pretty hot. You can kind of see those stripes in that yard, so I'm very excited to come back to this yard in a week from now when it's not wet and not rainy, and we can maybe try to knock it out and make it actually look good. It should stripe pretty well, but as you can see here, there was actually a hill on this property, and it's a pretty steep hill. This camera angle doesn't do the justice of it, so I do plan on bringing another camera angle back, or I should say another camera back with a better tripod and holding it up. Right there you can really see it's kind of steep. But anyways, I do plan on doing a full review of this Toro Timemaster, as well as I'm going to do a video specifically on how it works on hills, as you guys may got a little sneak peek there. But here's the job when we were done. Yes, it doesn't look all that great because it was thick, it's wet, it's raining. I'd never mow when it rains because it looks like crap like this. But I'm excited to bring you guys back next week. Of course, as you guys seen in this video, I did end up breaking the discharge chute. I don't know if I had it in there wrong, or if it was just so much grass plugged up against it, it was, banging it and pushing it out. And it could be fixable, because it looks like it just clips on there. Maybe like it was meant to happen. I'll have to look into it. Not meant to happen, but, part of it anyways. But I'll have to look into it. But anyways, maybe not. You can see right there. Doesn't look like it was meant to happen. We were able to improvise, and it seemed to work better anyways with having, a bungee cord right there holding this wide open. But I'm still very impressed with this mower. You guys already know that mower did very well in overgrown properties. I cut a retention pond and stuff with it, or a drainage ditch, I should say, and it was pretty thick and overgrown, and that did just fine doing that stuff. But I'm pretty impressed with this, being only a 10 horsepower motor and everything else. Now, it did struggle to plow through some of that in certain spots where, it was real wet and thick, so the tires would get wet and it would just spin. As I'm sure you guys saw when I got on the hill there, it was a little sketchy. It wanted to slide a bit, but it wasn't terrible. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this video a big thumbs up. And as always, guys, thank y'all for watching.